I would love to ask him this question because I've thought about it, and like I said to you earlier, I'm not sure that this is ideal. That the bulk suppliers have gone so completely off script in terms of what they've been doing defensively to down to something else. So now do Ireland adapt some of that, or do they go back to what the tried and trusted defence that they took so much pride in? That was perhaps. They defended more laterally. They kind of drifted more rather than shooting up, and they kept their shape.
Ireland have never really shot up.
No, and it's we've seen them. We've seen this Leinster team exposed by Billy Byrne's wicket kicking game at the RDS for Ulster when there was space in behind. You've seen it even with the way Leicester Tigers reloaded the blind side a couple of times. They are a bit more vulnerable as well as being more aggressive and their defence having more of an impact on matches. You're seeing more of Leinster's defence now. It's an absorbing watch. It's really interesting.
So watching South Africa defend is one of the great things in rugby. It will, Fiona, be say Farrell and O'Connell and the team say, well, no, this is how we play, and we're going to continue to play the way we've played. And Nina Barr, which is more likely, I would think. And Nina Barr, as any coach does, is trying to make this utterly instinctive for the Leinster players. It needs to be instinctive on a pitch. No second thoughts, no hesitation. Go. It's going to be genuinely, I'm not saying an insurmountable challenge, but it will be a real challenge for these players to go from vastly different systems back and forth in a way that they've never had to do really in their career, because there was such a parallel with Leinster and Ireland for so long.
Yeah, and especially in attack, Joe, we've seen it that, it's very similar in attack. So I know when I coach teams that when I get up to Munster, there might be a different type of style attack than players would have played at club, and it's an easy switch in attack. But I think a defensive mindset is a harder one to change. But I feel like with this group, once they step over that line, they're often Portugal now, that it just becomes a completely different mindset, and they'll go back to what they're learning. And it probably might take a couple of days at camp. They'll review videos, the likes of, I suppose it's the outside backs really where we see it a lot more. I feel like the likes of Ringrose, Lowe, they are not going to be coming up as hard. Obviously, we talk about Joe McCarthy, but I think it's on those outside channels in particular with Ireland that you would be susceptible to that with that line speed if teams can play. But, and as well, just on that point as well, you talked about Leicester. I thought they stuck with their defence system, Leinster, and they had Andre Pollard up against them. I really thought he was going to go after that in behind, but he didn't have any time to get many kicks in behind that Russian defence. But yeah, I think that it's going to be completely just a mindset change, and when they return to Leinster, it'll be back into that as well. And I suppose they're professional athletes, and they're going to have to learn to do that.
It's very helpful that they're actually in Portugal at the moment, and they had the 2-week build up to the first game to relearn old habits and so forth.
Yes, yeah.